Well, you know, you don't really think about it when you go so far as to take the cab off of a Jeep. What are you going to cover it with? But I got to looking around and I found an old cover for my side-by-side. It's got a rip in it here. But this works pretty good. Actually, is a great way to demonstrate that these old CJ5s really aren't much bigger than a 4-seater side-by-side. So what are we going to do this week? Well, there's lots to do on this, so it's almost like, what won't we do? But we got to stay organized. Last week I said I wanted to get to that speedometer, and I didn't. But since then, I've also gotten this piece of window trim. It's the weather stripping. And I've mentioned this to you before. We've got quite a mess here on the old weather strip. It's full of silicone right now, so it's kind of a mess. Like to get this old one out, get rid of all that silicone and put this new one in. So I think we'll take care of that. Obviously that goes hand in hand with changing the speedometer because I'm going to take the dash out to get to the speedometer. And then I've got seat belts I need to put in this. So I guess let's just get after it, huh? So of course we're going to want to fold this window down. Kind of assess how that's going to work. And like I said, man, there is a glob of silicone kind of on top of this old seal for the window. Let's just see what happens. Pop these buggers loose. Let's just see. There it is, right on. Well, we got a few stink bugs. Oh yeah, boy, clean under here. Solid. Not one bit of rust. Holy smokes. Very nice, very clean. This is the seal we're going to be changing out. That's what was in that package I showed you a little bit ago. It doesn't look that bad, but it is hard. I mean, there's no pliability in it anymore. So, you know, I'm sure it's original and it's worn out. But before we do that, we are going to get this dash loose and replace this guy. And hopefully we don't find a whole mess of other issues once we open that up. Well, let's see if we can't blow a few of these bugs out of here. Ooh. Stopped by Harbor Freight this week. I was in a town that actually had a Harbor Freight in it. Hey, you know, you buy a little bit of stuff over there, they throw in things for free, like this magnetic dog bowl. But I thought it might be good for putting screws in. 7/16, here we go. Let's see if these rattle out of here. I might be wrong, but it sure looks like these steering column screws have got to come out of there. Oh my goodness. Whew. Good thing I Nautilus. I eat cheeseburgers. Probably shouldn't. I probably should work out. Ah. Oh boy. Ah. I win. Well, it looks to me like those buggers have got to come out of there. Maybe a shorter screwdriver. Well, you know they make power screwdrivers, Byron. Yeah, I've heard that one before. Sounds like fake news. There we go. It kind of looks like the last thing I got hanging me up is the parking brake. Parking brake handle is attached to a grommet in a kind of a little clamp piece of sheet metal right attached to the pedal. So it looks like if I can pop that off. Aha, got it. There. Oh, that was way harder than it needed to be. So I just had some family show up, and so I need to be social for a while. I don't know if I'll be able to get back to the Jeep today, even though I just kind of got started on it. If I don't worry about it, because tomorrow will come just like that. Hey there, kitty. Well, it is the next day. So we're just going to jump right back into where we left off yesterday. Get this dash out to where I can get to the back of that speedometer. It was being a bit of a bear cat yesterday, I will say. You know, I've only taken a few dashes out over the years in Jeeps, and I guess I've forgotten each time that there's sometimes a little bit more involved with them. We'll just get right back into it and get that speedometer changed out. Seems like I've been talking about that for a long time. Should do it. As I pointed out in my first video, it'd be nice to get a new one of these. This one's a little bit busted. You can see somebody's kind of jerry-rigged some stuff together. But this little panel's expensive, you know. I guess it's because they don't make it anymore. If you can find them, they're kind of a premium, man. So I guess if I don't replace it, that's okay. It does function. It just doesn't function well. If anybody out there knows where I can get a new one of these without breaking the bank, let me know. I would guess the story's going to be, no, you'll break the bank. You know, that might be enough right there to do it. All right, looks like about 4. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4 screws holding that speedometer in. Bring you guys in here, you can take a look. So we got this little gap to work in, but it's enough to get my hands in here, so that's good. It looks like just these 4, well, looks like about 3/8 inch screws maybe. We'll rattle those off and see if that's enough to get that speedo out of there. A little extension here. I think the extra effort to get the dash at least partly down like this is worth it. So honestly, reaching up underneath would not be fun. I'm kind of a big guy and I don't contort well into those small spaces. Oh, of course, it's going to be a bear cat. Let's see here. Oh, there it is. Got it. Put all these right up here where I'll probably lose them. All right. There's always a chance that maybe we've also got a bad output from the transmission for the Speedo, but right now it's pretty obvious the way it's hanging that there's other issues. It's just broken. So what I've done here is I've taken a lot of pictures of the back of the existing Speedo so that I can get everything pushed into the right ports in the back of the new one. You know, they're for such things as the high beam light and the blinkers and that sort of thing, the amp light, oil light, that kind of stuff. So I'm just going to match it one for one, and hopefully I got enough pictures to get it back together right, because I really literally need to just unplug everything off the back of this and get it out of there. this is kind of a good opportunity for me to get the wires reconfigured, because it's just a tentacle down there. It's kind of Medusa's head, in the fact that over the years people have rerun wires to different things, and I've got it kind of a locked up mess of this back there. There, aha, get her out. There you go, there's your close-up. She's a little bit on the broken side. And for future reference, I had 86,596.8 miles on this. All right, with that out of there, I'm gonna go into town, go visit my buddies at Napa, and get a bunch of new light bulbs. Man, it is the first part of June here in Northwest Montana. It's the 8th today, 8th of June. It is heating up, man. I think we're gonna have 90-degree weather today, which is actually quite normal, but whew, I'll tell you what, any of you that have done much recording with GoPros understand the challenge with working in hot weather. They just don't like it. Seems like about the time it hits 90, every 10 minutes your GoPro's saying, nope, I'm done, I'm shutting down. Give that stuff away. 26 bucks for a spray application of POR 15, but it's going to be very convenient. So what am I going to do? I need some. I got a lot of rust to treat. Probably going to need a few more cans than that. And then I got some bulbs. Weren't exactly the right ones, but they're going to work. And I know at some point I'm going to need some of this anti-seize. So I got some suspension stuff coming up. All right, let's head back to the ranch. Well, I'm back from Napa. That's hot. Got my light bulbs. Also stopped by and saw our friends at Ace Hardware and got a couple items there I needed for tailgate chains and that kind of thing. So let's get this new Speedo put in. First I'm going to blow it out, get the air hose in here. Man, those seats are hot. I got to find something to put on those. So I'm just walking through, plugging everything back in here. Not a big deal, but wanted to tell you guys that these Rugged Ridge Omex brand just have a little different size nut on the back. Not a big deal. The stock one had 3/8 inch nuts. This one, they are 5/16. Again, not a big deal. Just wanted to let you know. I'm gonna hurry up and get this done. I'll show you the completed product here, because how long do you really want to live underneath the dash looking at this? You don't. I don't. Well, Speedo's in, dash is all back together. And now we're gonna take this guy off. This piece of weather stripping or seal for the window. One of the things I have to do, I think there's a disconnect for this windshield wiper motor underneath the dash here. See if I can find that. And that should be about it. Otherwise, just taking out about 1,000,000 darn screws here to get this thing out. Looks to be pretty straightforward, but I'm gonna be honest with you. So did the dash. That ended up being about a 2-hour ordeal, maybe more. Let's see how easy these come out here. And there's one coming out real easy. And I would like to say thank you to Harbor Freight one more time for that guy. It seems to be the star of the show today. Everything I'm taking off ends up in there, and I haven't lost a single bolt so far. Oh, well, that guy go. Oh, some of these might be a bit of a bear cat. Let me hit the fast forward button so you guys don't have to sit here and watch me turn every single one of these screws. Man, it's getting hot. Whew. It's about 90 out here. So I guess I've probably shown you this before, but here's all that silicone that's over the top of that old seal that I've got to get out of there. I don't know why, but for some reason I thought that I could just, you know, peel it off there, but it ain't gonna happen. Did I mention how hot it is? Huh. Whew. Gonna need me a sarsaparilla here shortly. There's a good tool. Look at that guy. Oh yeah. Seems to be the right tool for the job. Oh yeah, it's got some rust. Oh man. Yeah. We may have a rust problem. There we go. Yeah. Let's see what we got here. Well, that was a good find. But you know, that's a normal place for rust in these old Jeeps. The windows don't do well. Just because that is a great place for moisture and dirt to set up, kind of between that seal and the window. Let me clean it up and we'll do another assessment of it here. Well, I got all the rust treated for the most part around the window. At some point I'm going to probably have to replace this thing. For now, we're just going to touch it up. We've got a little spray on POR 15 top coat. Dress it up with that best I can. Get that new seal in there and we'll be good for now. We'll wait for it to rot off at some point in the future. And then we'll just replace it. Well, it became very apparent to me that I was going to get paint under the window and onto the glass on the front side. So we, did an installation here of some protective baggies. Get a little more paint on here. Doesn't everybody use diamond plate when they're painting. I thought that was the industry standard. Oh, that top line. I don't think it's gonna get any treatment right yet. We got her polished up pretty good. I might have to get some brush on POR for that. Give that a little bit of time to dry, and we'll get that seal in there to be done with this part. Man, all this stuff today is taking a long time. Must be the heat. As David Lee Roth would say, I'm going crazy from the heat. How many David Lee Roth fans are out there? Nothing against the Sammy Hagar fans. I'm just a David Lee Roth Van Halen guy. Although I did see Sammy last year. Gosh, went to his concert. It was fantastic. Anyway, here's our new seal. Very nice. Crown Automotive brand. You'll notice that I did take the cover off for the windshield wiper motor. This looks like it has to go underneath that when it gets down here. So put this on, then we'll put that back on. Yeah. Be patient here. Work this in a little bit at a time. It's going together. It might need to pull down that way a little bit. Be cut a little bit long. That's interesting. Wow. And my holes don't line up the same. Not quite. Well, isn't that something? Not sure I understand this. Let me show you what I've got going on here. It's supposed to be a keeper screw that goes in right there. It's not even close. See that hole back there? Oh, it needs to move that way a fair amount. So before I was cut off by a dead battery, just showing you how these things do not line up, but I think I have a plan. I'm going to start on this side and work my way down, putting screws in as needed, knowing that we're probably going to have a little bit of wrinklage, a little bit of slop in this thing by the time I get to the far end. But we're just going to get the screws in place where they're supposed to be, and then just go ahead and close the thing and let it kind of seal itself. So the screws that were holding this wiper motor cover on, well, there's no other way to put it than they sucked. Why you put Phillips head in this kind of stuff, I don't know. So I changed it back to these 5/16 inch machine screws. So we can just ratchet them in, and then later on we want to take them out and they won't be stuck in there. Phillips screws. All right. Moment of proof. We're gonna go see if the speedometer works. Now, don't tell anybody, but I don't have any seat belts. But I trust you guys. Oh, mirror's loose. See if my other gauges work as well. It's showing that I'm full of fuel. It's pegged out at full. I don't know if that's right. Probably should have checked my tire pressure. I'm a little low on air. Driver front. Off we go. Temp gauge is coming up. Speedometer's doing nothing. Temp is really climbing. Looks like she's about to start overheating. Yeah, I'm gonna close her down here. Something's going on. Yeah, no, it never pegged out, but the temperature gauge definitely came up, a long ways up. It's 3/4 of the way through the normal range. Maybe that's normal, I don't know. We'll let it sit here and idle for a sec, see what it does. Yeah, but no speed, and I connected the cable to the back, so maybe it's the speedometer output from the transmission. It's not good. All right, let's head back to the house. It didn't really ever overheat during that trip, but it got warm. But here's the good news. Check this out. Since we changed the thermostat, there's that overflow tube from the radiator. Not getting any overflow anymore, so that's a good thing. Maybe we fixed the problem there. I'm not sure. So a couple other things I found. Before I took it for a ride, I cleaned it out. I got in there with a shop vac, took all those carpets out, cleaned everything as best I could. I found a couple problem spots as far as rust goes. Right here in the passenger side, we do have some problems here. That's probably what this was. Previous owner was fixing some rust issues. Again, we're gonna just go ahead and get in here and probably do like we did out on the window. Probably use a power wire brush, clean up all this rust as best we can, and then encapsulate it. I also did vacuum out this. There was probably, oh man, I can't believe how much rust was in there. And I did find a couple spots where you can see through some pinholes. That is very, very, very tough shape down there. So inside of that compartment needs to be fixed as well. Over there on the driver's side, kind of the same thing. We've got some problems that need to be fixed. We'll probably, when we pull these seats out, just treat that, the entire bottom of this thing. I do have to get underneath this and see what's going on with the little drive component off the transmission for the speedometer, because that's not working. And suspension. Man, I'm getting really close to going after the suspension on this. And I had kind of mentioned that suspension was going to be coming up soon. So let me just show you what we got. Check this out. BDS 2.5-inch suspension lift with shocks and all the hardware. I'm going to tell you, I'm really excited about this. It's going to take a fair amount of time to get this done. Probably going to be more than a weekend, and it's not going to necessarily be next weekend. There's other things we need to focus on first with the Jeep. But yeah, this is exciting. It's going to give that thing the stance that we're looking for, raise it up a little bit. Maybe it won't track around the road so bad because those front leaves are just beat to death. You know, so give it a better, firmer footprint. So that's coming up soon. Still a few weeks out, but you know that's going to be digging at me. It's in the back of my subconscious saying, install me, install me. Well, I think it's time to put old BenJee to sleep for the week here. We'll get back to her next Saturday, I suppose, unless I go fishing or something. But thanks for coming along today and watching me kind of exhaustingly work through some very simple tasks, or at least what I thought were going to be simple tasks. And gosh, hopefully next week we get to some of the things I already mentioned that we are going to focus on, working our way eventually to that suspension, which is going to be a lot of fun. So thanks for tuning in, and if you're liking what you're seeing here, I guess hit a thumbs up, I think, or something, or subscribe, I don't know, whatever you're supposed to do, or don't do anything. Just tune in next week and we'll do more Jeep stuff with old BenJee. See you then.